So how do we create it? What is it? How can we use it? Today we are discussing a newly introduced mob in Minecraft known as the Copper Golem. Let's begin. Our golem possesses a wonderful functionality that we will utilize. We will create item sorting. You can find the guide for this sorter in the description. But before we move on to the functionality that allows it, let's see how to summon it into our world. We require a block of copper for this purpose. It can exist in various stages of oxidation. All that is necessary is to position it and subsequently place a carved pumpkin atop it. So when I position it, the golem is generated and we instantly receive a copper chest, which we will also talk about in a moment. As I previously mentioned, we can have copper with varying degrees of oxidation. Our intricately carved pumpkin will correspond to each of these copper blocks and generate a golem with the appropriate level of oxidation. Naturally, we can also have a pumpkin with a face that illuminates similar to a lantern or simply an ordinary one. It makes no difference. As you can observe, golems are formed with different levels of oxidation, and we don't even need to position the pumpkin on top. It can merely be placed on the side, and the golem creation process will still function effectively. Alright, when we eliminate the golem, it undergoes a transformation into a statue, which I'll elaborate on in a moment. But first, let's remove them to ensure a clean area for testing without any interference. A golem can also be summoned using an egg. For instance, I am a Krill TV, so I can do it right now. Here you go, and let's begin examining its functionality, what it can contribute to our game, why it was designed, and what its purpose is. So we'll position a copper chest here, and adjacent to it, empty standard wooden chests. Our golem will have the capability to transfer and organize our items from the copper chest into our regular chests. Generally, it operates in such a manner that the golem places items into empty chests or into chests that already contain that specific item. Let's observe this in practice. Currently, my chests are devoid of contents, but we will fill them up to demonstrate. For instance, I will place some wooden materials here to indicate to the golem that this is a designated chest for wood and exclusively for wood, nothing else. Here we'll put in some deep slate and we'll leave this chest empty to also show what happens when the chest is empty. So generally we can now put the items we want the golem to sort into this chest. So for example, we'll put deep slate in mine, let it be deep slate to start. Of course there can be more items, but we'll do it step by step to clearly see the process. So he takes the deep slate, looks into the chest and selects it randomly. He determines that there is cobblestone, the chest is not empty, the item doesn't match, so he can't place it in there. He reached the same conclusion with this particular chest, approached it and observed that there was already deep slate present here, indicating that this is a designated chest for deep slate, so he can confidently leave the item here. And indeed, he departed, gathered additional portions, and once more examined to determine which chest it appropriately fits into. Now, if I were to destroy that chest and hypothetically there was no chest containing that deep slate, he would simply approach and place the item into an unoccupied one. It's like the empty space is a kind of permission for him, okay, you can put this item there, even though the chest isn't labeled with what exactly should go there. He decides, okay, we can put it here, and you can see that he placed it, but now he won't put anything else there except deep slate, because it's like the chest already has that one item, so nothing else besides deep slate will end up there. Certainly, I am capable of placing additional items for him, more generously this time around. Here you are, we'll place some random items in here. He will efficiently sort what he is able to, and what he is unable to, he will simply leave unsorted. We don't have chests for these items. As we can see, he put down some cobblestone, picks up more cobblestone and puts it down again. By the way, he has amazing animations, especially when he's searching through the chests. It's really atmospheric and cool. Item frames, naturally, don't signify anything in this context. They are merely for your reference to identify where each block is positioned. For him, the only relevant information is which block to place, whether that block is already present in the chest or if the chest is vacant. He's doing well, so let's simulate a scenario where he has all the items that don't fit. Let's see, he needs to dig something. He checks, well, this chest has cobblestone, the piston doesn't fit, and the same with the wood, the piston doesn't fit, so he'll check another chest and it doesn't fit either. In such a scenario, he opts to take a brief pause, rests for a few moments, and subsequently attempts once more to place the item somewhere appropriate. This is something to be extremely cautious about when designing item sorters or in other situations when utilizing this golem, as he can quite easily become stuck with a situation like this. Therefore, it's always a wise idea to have an empty chest on the side where he can place the item that doesn't fit. And we see that he put the piston here because it didn't fit. Similarly, I did the same with the dirt. He checked all the little chests, they don't fit, so there will be a problem. And consequently, we must provide him with a replacement. So typically these chests will require emptying through some mechanism, such as a sorter or something comparable. Furthermore, our golem possesses a reach of merely 2 blocks upwards. So if we desire for him to organize items within the warehouse, we will need to construct some stairs or specialized pathways for him to access the chest on the 3rd block. Let's observe that it will approach and utilize the steps if the chest is elevated beyond 3 blocks, ensuring it won't encounter any issues. Now let's focus on what we noticed initially, which is that we can possess various variants of our golems, signifying they exhibit different colors and distinct levels of oxidation. Typically, this process occurs gradually over a period, indicating that we begin with a standard, newly created golem, and it gradually undergoes oxidation over time, altering its color through various shades until it ultimately arrives at the final stage, which is the most verdant green. The downside of this oxidation is that our golem might turn into a statue, as if it loses its life. Usually it stops moving and just becomes a statue. When we click on it using the mouse button, it merely alters its posture. It's akin to a small mascot. What happens next? After the golem has undergone oxidation, fortunately we possess the ability to save it by utilizing our axe to meticulously scrape away the oxidation. I persistently click on it until I revert it to the initial stage and then click once more, and subsequently our golem is revived. Therefore, nothing detrimental occurs, but it can become quite bothersome when we employ these golems in our warehouses, sorting systems, and other similar applications. It would certainly be beneficial to discover a method to inhibit them from experiencing oxidation and subsequently converting into statues. You can make use of honeycomb. Just apply the honeycomb by right-clicking on the golem and it becomes waxed, guaranteeing it no longer experiences oxidation. Essentially, this indicates it won't convert into a statue. By the way, if we don't like the color of the oxidation on the blocks, we can, similar to our golem, use the right mouse button while holding the axe to simply scrape it off, and our block returns to its original state. When the statue has become entirely oxidized, it ought to transform into a figurine within approximately 8 seconds, so it's advantageous to allow it to oxidize. Nevertheless, when we already possess a golem statue and do not wish to revert it into a living entity, we can utilize it to power a redstone signal. And quite simply, depending on the various positions through the comparator, the redstone signal exhibits different levels of strength, as you can observe here, so you can also utilize it in an entertaining manner. Please write in the comments how much you enjoyed this new mob. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you found the video entertaining, kindly give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.